Hi, everybody. Ridgely Goldsboro here, and I'm very excited to be able to share with all of you the Maverick Applied Science story. I'm here with President Jeff Eisenman, and to get this done the right way, I think we need to know a little bit about the background. So, Jeff, first of all, welcome. I'm excited to be doing this with you.
Well, thanks, Rizzy. It's great to be with you as well. I guess if I would start out, I started my FRP career working with Beetle Engineering, which was a subsidiary of Beetle Plastics, which was a FRP piping manufacturer located in Oklahoma. When I was with Beetle Engineering, principally we did piping design, so I did a lot of pipe stress analysis. We did drawing packages and installations. From time to time, I would run field crews, and so I guess during that time, we were principally focused on piping, and I worked with Beetle for approximately 9 years, and basically rose from basically a piping analyst to project manager. And that was a great job, and I learned a whole lot. I had a great mentor there. And after 9 years, they basically, due to some economic challenges, they closed that engineering office. So
oh wow, so that was it, huh?
That was it. I was out of work. They sent everybody home pretty much, and at that point, I had just built a house a couple of years before. My son was about to be born about 2 months later, and so then it was like, okay, well, what are we going to do next?
Well, that's got to be pretty tough at that moment, right? If you have a stable job and all of a sudden nothing, and you got a child on the way and house just built, and wow.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, Elizabeth and I, we looked around, and it's like our life was set up. We had a new home. We had the first baby and the first grandchild on the way. Both our families were nearby. We had everything but a job at that point.
That's pretty important, having a job at that point.
It's really important, especially if you want to eat regular.
Right.
So at that point, it was like, so do we want to pick up and move and go to some engineering hub like Houston or Atlanta or Kansas City? Or do we want to do something here? And I guess after some hard thought, we felt like the worst thing I could do was pull the first grandchild away from our parents. So we felt like it was something that we needed to do. Mm-hmm. So we started to talk about it. I'm like, when I was at Beetle, I had talked to the owner there, and I said, we should really be an independent engineering firm. Then we could work for lots of manufacturers and lots of different owners, and not just restricted to working on Beetle Plastics projects. Well, that didn't really go over well. There's what I found was there's a lot of sort of security and comfort in working in this bigger group and not stepping out on your own, basically without a safety net. So that idea didn't go over well when I was at Beetle, but it still kind of stuck in the back of my brain. And I started to talk to Elizabeth about it and kind of talk through what we might do and what the challenges might be. And I guess fortunate for me, she supported the idea, and Maverick was born.
Yeah, December 1999. That's amazing. So
December of 1999.
I got a question for you. Do you remember your first client?
I do.
Tell us about that. I want to know.
So our first client was it was Florida Power and Light down in Turkey Point, which is a nuclear power plant down in South Florida near Homestead. And we had done some engineering designs for them earlier, and now they were moving on to installation. So they wanted somebody down there, and I actually, for a short period of time, I contracted back to Beetle to do that installation, and actually ran the crews for them at that point. That was probably the first the first project was actually a field job, and getting started, I found that you know, the client, basically we're starting from scratch. There was no client base. All of Beatles clients were in the Northeast and the Midwest, and they had very little exposure in the Southeast. But it didn't make any sense to try to hop on a plane and fly to New England or something like that to try to make new customers. Instead, I said, well, it's a lot cheaper just to hop in the truck and go to Georgia or Alabama or North Florida or somewhere else. So that's what we decided. So very quickly, I started to meet with some of the local power plants and paper mills, and they were some of our first clients at Maverick.
Excellent. And tell us, because I know this is the part that everybody wants to know, what was the toughest thing about those early days, just getting going?
Oh gosh. I mean, starting from scratch is tough. I mean, there's no roadmap. You know, when you start a company, you know, you have this vision, and you know, you make the business plan and everything, but it's all a picture in your mind. There's no proof that it's going to work, and it's not until you get out there that you prove it to yourself. And so the first couple of years were really tough. I remember one time when we were basically, we figured out we had 2 more weeks of money and we were going to be totally broke. And we had actually, I'd been just pounding the pavement sales calls. I was driving all over the Southeast with meetings with pulp and paper mills and steel mills and power plants, but nothing was coming in. And Elizabeth had a friend that they said, well, we have a timeshare in Savannah. I think it was in Hilton Head. And they're like, you know, would you like to come for the weekend? Well, it's like, well, either in the next 2 weeks, either we're going to be broke anyway. So pretty much at that point, there's nothing more that we could do to change our destiny. So I'm like, well, sure, let's go on a vacation. So we went up to Hilton Head, I think stayed with them for 4 days and had a great time. And literally Monday morning came back and got a phone call and got a purchase order that day.
Nice.
So, but it was definitely a time of just a lot of faith, and it was a leap of faith at that time, and just good fortune.
And so on the flip side of the toughest thing, which is a great story, what was your fondest memory of those early days?
The fondest memory. I guess the fondest memory, because the first 2.5 years we actually worked out of my home office. And as I mentioned, my son had just been born. And I remember being on the phone talking to clients, and my son was home. We had my mother was coming in and helping to watch Daniel while I was working during the day. And so I'm in the office, door closed, talking to the customer, and then I hear this bang on the bam, 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 bam. Daddy, daddy. He's yelling at me through the door, and I'm like, you know, got the phone real close and trying to, you know, talk a little softer, but you just know that the customer hears every word, you know, and he's probably laughing on the other side. But I was like so embarrassed, but that's a good memory.
Still worked out though. And if you could share a takeaway, or maybe the biggest takeaway, or one of your takeaways from those early years of starting Maverick with everybody out there, what would that be?
I would say starting a business is about faith and perseverance. Mm-hmm. Just you have to believe in your vision, and you can't give up.
And last question for this first video, the beginnings of the Maverick story, if you will. If you had to do it all again, is there anything that you would do differently? And if so, what would that be?
Oh, gosh. That's a tough question. I would say if I did it differently, the biggest challenge in running a business is keeping a balance between work and family life. And it's you're like this, and then you're like this, and every now and then everything is in balance. And I think I would probably try harder to keep things in balance.
Well, Jeff, thanks very much. That is a great story of the beginnings of Maverick. I look forward to diving into the growth of Maverick in our next video. Thanks so much for getting us started.
And thank you, Ridgely. Good to see you.